Hi guys, so Apple just released the new Apple Watch Series 9. Now this is an amazing watch that has a lot of interesting features, right? Typically the Apple Watch brand is just an amazing one. These are watches that could check your calorie burns, watches that could check your heart rate. These are watches that could even send an emergency message to somebody on your phone in the case that you have an accident. So these are just a few of the functions that watch could perform. However, when certain discussions are being held about watches that kind of reflect or that representation of like high end watchmaking or high level watchmaking, the Apple Watch doesn't necessarily come up. And so in today's video, I was speaking to a couple of the reasons or a couple of the differences between the Apple Watch and high level mechanical watches. So yeah, let's get into it. Okay, so the first difference between an Apple Watch and a mechanical watch is usually the durability and longevity of the watch. Is a watch that is, just subject to, say, software updates every now and then, just like the same way you typically do for your phone. You need to update your watch, and even you don't really buy an Apple Watch with the mindset that you're going to be using it for the next 20 years, if you're being honest, right? But on the flip side, you have mechanical watches like Rolexes, Patek Philippe's, Omega watches they are built to last a lifetime. I think there's a common Patek Philippe phrase that says you don't really buy a Patek Philippe watch, you basically just hold it for the next generation, something like that. So basically, Apple Watches, in terms of longevity, are not necessarily constructed or built to last a lifetime. However, on the flip side, mechanical watches from top brands, say Rolexes, Patek Philippe's, Audemars Piguet's, are intentionally designed to outlive you as a human being. So that's the number one reason why Apple Watches might not necessarily be considered in the same bracket as the other mechanical watches. So the second difference is the history and the reputation of the brand. So when you talk about Apple, you're talking about a brand that was established in 2007. The Apple Watch was first introduced in 2014. Then on the flip side, you have brands like mechanical watch brands like Rolex. Rolex has been in existence since 1905. Seiko has been in existence since 1881. Patek Philippe has been in existence since 1839. So just looking at how long each of these brands have been in existence, you tend to find that mechanical watches just tend to have more years behind them. They've been in existence for longer. You have watches from that particular category that were created in the 18th, 19th century and are still functional as of today. So when it comes to history, mechanical watches typically would have the years behind them and the history behind them. Now, aside from time, there's also certain brands, certain mechanical watch brands that have just achieved certain milestones. Like you have your Omega Speedmaster, for example, which is the first watch ever to actually land on the moon. Aside from that, you have royalty and presidents of countries that rock mechanical watches. So you typically find them wearing watches from brands like Patek Philippe, Rolex, and the like. So when it comes to history and reputation, mechanical watches just tend to just stand out. You can't put them in the same category as an Apple Watch. So that's the second reason. So the third difference is usually with the pricing of the watches. So with the Apple Watch, you have the Series 9 that just came out and it's priced around, I think the starting price is from $399, right? Actually, you could get mechanical watches for that same price range, but for the sake of the discussion, I'm trying to just speak to high level mechanical watches against the high level Apple Watch, right? So I'm juxtaposing the Apple Watch to watches from brands like Rolex, to models from Rolex, for example, and Patek Philippe and some of these other bigger brands. So I'm comparing like to likes basically. So the third reason is the pricing, right? So you have the Series 9 watch that starts from $399. Now on the other hand, for a Rolex watch, I think the cheapest Rolex you can get for retail is around $4,000 to $5,000, which would be like an Oyster Perpetual or something. You have, let's say, Cartier, for example. At retail, the cheapest watch you probably get from Cartier would be like $2,000 to $2,500. Let's not even talk about Richard Mille because I don't think there's any Richard Mille watch that costs less than $100,000. You know, so the third reason is the pricing. Mechanical watches typically are more highly priced, and this pricing could be as a result of a lot of things. It could be as a result of the history of the watch, the brand reputation that it has, and also the way production occurs, right? So Richard Milles, for example, are usually highly priced because, firstly, it's because of hype. Let's be honest, but secondly, because of availability, Richard Milles are not so common in terms of how many watches are being produced in a year. So basically, the third reason is with the pricing. Mechanical watches are very different from the Apple Watch when you look at it from a pricing angle. Mechanical watches would typically be more expensive, especially for high-end watches or high-level watches from top brands. So the fourth reason is the look and the design of the watch. So when it comes to the Apple Watch, I feel like the Apple Watch is not necessarily considered as something that is stylish per se. It just looks like you have a mini phone on your wrist, as opposed to like a mechanical watch that could come in different forms of bracelets. Although I know bracelets are also customizable for Apple Watches, but there's just a look that comes with a mechanical watch. Some of them are made with stainless steel. You have some of them that are fully made with gold. You have some of them that have see-through case backs where you could look at the watch and see what is actually going on within the watch. So there's just a look that comes with the mechanical watches. And if you look at, say, somebody that's trying to dress up for an occasion, say you wanted to be suited up for an occasion, typically there's just a way the mechanical watch would sit right on your hand. So imagine wearing a Rolex on the suit as opposed to wearing an Apple Watch. Not to say that the Apple Watch is not going to look good, but it might just be a perception thing anyways. But there's just a look that comes with wearing a mechanical watch on your wrist. And that I feel like the Apple Watch doesn't necessarily cannot really compete with, right? So the fourth difference is the look and the design of the watch. So the fifth difference is emotions or perceptions and how people look at these watches. I think people look at Apple Watches as just this cool, innovative device that could do so many things, and as opposed to a mechanical watch, which is people would tend to gravitate towards them from a point of view of maybe a reflection of success or a reflection of the level of craftsmanship that was put into making that watch, right? So personally, I feel like the Apple Watch is intentionally built to be functional. It's built to make your life easier, to make your day-to-days easier. Now, when you look at a mechanical watch, for example, a Rolex is not necessarily, there's nothing about a Rolex that is, except for maybe telling you what the time is, but your phone can tell you what the time is. But Rolexes are not necessarily built to make your life easier or make sure that you want to make a call and then your watch could do something to make that call. It's really designed in such a way as to sort of reflect the level of craftsmanship that went into the production of the watch. It's a status symbol, it's a sign of success to some people or to most people. So generally, the intention or the purpose behind these two items are significantly different. You have one which is built to be functional, to make your life easier, to basically function as a mini phone on your wrist, right? A more portable phone. And then you have something else that is just designed to sort of stand out as a status symbol and something that sort of speaks for you whenever you step into rooms. So these are the 5 differences between an Apple Watch and a mechanical watch. So these are basically the 5 differences between an Apple Watch and a mechanical watch. So I hope this was useful. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope that when you see certain things happening, people are not really considering an Apple Watch to be that kind of watch. They don't look at it as a watch per se. You kind of understand why, and I hope this was useful. And so till the next video.